of the same old rhetoric, whining and spin? Freshen up your radio listening with Michael Patrick Shields in the morning.
9 minutes before the hour, Michael Patrick Shields all across the state of Michigan. Michelle Gilbert is a public relations person with Verizon Wireless, and we were just talking to Dan Musser about the fact that Labor Day is coming and the Jazz Festival on Mackinac Island. That means kids are going back to school, and Michelle Gilbert wants to talk to you about whether or not you should put a cell phone in the hands of your children when they go to school. That's a question that a lot of parents ask themselves. Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Did you recognize that music we played to bring you into the broadcast here?
I did. I'm pretty hip with it.
That's what we heard on your phone when we dialed you up just now. We heard Poker Face instead of a ring.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't realize that because I have a jukebox. So every time you call me, you get a different song.
A different song. Wow, that's pretty. And so you don't know what people are hearing. They could be hearing some wild song like Born to Be Wild, and they say, wow, this Michelle Gilbert must be a pretty wild child.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't scare you. Or Dance Fever, maybe, or something like that? Doesn't bother you?
Okay, now you're aging me.
Okay.
Because I remember that song.
Yeah, did you see Steven Tyler fell off the stage yesterday in Toronto? He was performing. It's the second time it's happened now in about a year, I guess. And it was the same song, Love in an Elevator. He fell off the stage and broke his shoulder last time in South Dakota. Yesterday it was in Toronto, or Tuesday, and fell off the stage again.
Holy cow, it sounds like they got to put up some barriers for him or something.
Left some kind of rail, keep him from getting to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if Love in an Elevator comes on your phone while I'm calling you, I'm pulling the car over and stopping to talking. I don't want any accidents.
Now I know never to put that song on.
Should parents put a cell phone in their kids' hands? At what age, first of all? And second of all, should they be allowed to take it to school with them?
So I would tell you that it's up to every individual family to determine what the right age is. Every family has different needs, and parents know what is best for their children. What I can tell you is that the age at which parents are asking themselves that question continues to get younger and younger. 8 to 10 years ago, parents were contemplating that decision as their children learned how to drive. Today, it's not unusual to see parents with children going into 5th grade and certainly into junior high, and they're asking that question. So I really think it's up to each individual family to determine the responsibility level of the child and what the needs are. In terms of your second question about whether phones should be allowed in schools, you know what? We don't want to take a position on that because every school, every vicinity has its own needs and rules. What we tell people is that they should respect the rules of wherever they're at, if it's a school, if it's a church, if it's a movie theater.
There are some kids who get obsessed with the texting and the connecting with their friends that way. We were talking yesterday about the fact that maybe kids will do and say things on phones and on texting and with the ability to send pictures that they might not ordinarily do. How would you limit, if you would, or how would you stop your child from becoming, sort of absent while he's having dinner with you because, Jill down the street sending him a text?
Sure, and that's a great question. And frankly, it's an issue that all parents have to deal with because texting is the preferred form of communication among that generation. Mm-hmm. We have a product called Usage Controls, and I'm sure that other wireless service providers have similar features that actually allows parents to put controls on how and when their children are going to be using their phones. So, for example, not that I have a phone in my 7-year-old's hands, but if I did, or if I had an older child with a phone, I could limit that she could text message between the hours of, say, 3:30 when school gets out and 5:30 when we sit down to dinner, and maybe in the morning before she actually goes to school. That way, you know that she is not texting when you don't want her to be. Similarly, you can also set limits on the number of text messages, which a lot of parents are really using cell phones to teach their children a level of responsibility and control.
Does it store up the texts that come in the hours that the text isn't available?
That's a really good question, and you've stumped me. Probably
like email that you don't
check it. If your phone is off, yeah, if your phone would be off, it would try to resend. Now, I will tell you that after so much time, it won't go through, but it will try to resend for a certain amount of time.
Can you limit the phone numbers that the child can call or accept calls from?
Yes, absolutely. You can block certain numbers from your child's phone. You can actually also limit the amount of minutes they use, although most parents are telling us that that's not really an issue because their kids, the only minutes they're using are when their parents actually call them. The other nice feature about usage controls is that you can identify family members that are on your family plan, like mom and dad and maybe big brother, where no matter what time of day, those messages or those calls will go through.
That's the reason they have the phone in the first place, for the parents to be able to reach them. Michelle Gilbert with Verizon Wireless.